Hello, my friends. This is the S&P 500 one-day reading for March 21st, 2022. It's currently March 4th, 2022 at 3:40 a.m. The overall theme and behavior for the S&P 500 throughout March 21st is an opportunity within a decline to open up some long positions. In the pre-market, there's a decline through from a peak whose price level will not be revisited within the time frame of the reading. Right at the open, there's a fast sudden move higher. And in the first half hour, roughly, there is a bullish rotation along a support level. So we move higher to reach bullish rotation. From 10 to 11, Congress or foreign legislative agency is highlighted. And then we have roughly between 11 and 12, we have a fast sudden move higher, marking the end of a period of volatility. From 12 to 1, roughly, we have a U-shaped dip that happens kind of like sitting in between the intersection of two perpendicular diagonal trend lines. And then from 1 to 2, we have an important price level. The peace price level is visited. We have a very prominent move to the upside between roughly 2 and 3 o'clock. And then from 3 to the close, roughly, we have move lower. We spike up to reach moving averages that act as resistance, and we move even lower, spike up but not as high, moving average is resistance, and so on. That's the behavior of strife. Right around the close, there's some sideways fluctuation with a bullish trend, and then we have a sideways S formation in the post market. And what I mean by that is there's a resistance level, a support level, and the price goes like sideways S through it. Behavior around the high, we reach a resistance level, and then there's notable volatility increasing as we move forward in time. And then behavior moving to the low is sideways fluctuation with a downward trend moving into the low. I'm advised to trade around an M-shaped kind of formation that happens through along the price level. So the price level is like this, and then we go like this through it, all right? And it's also a surprise failure. So it's like we thought we were going to break through resistance, but then boom, we fall back down through it, and there's a surprise failure due to something that we were counting on not coming to fruition. The sneak preview for the 22nd is we successfully turn resistance into new support, and that's the 21st of March 2022, guys. Let me know what you think. Love to hear about it. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. Does us a real lot of support, and I appreciate that, my friends. Thanks for watching. Good luck, and I'll see you later. Hello, my friends. This is the S&P 500 one-day reading for March 21st, 2022. It's currently March 4th, 2022. Okay, so there's a notable bottom here, guys. Notable bottom, as highlighted here in the in the March overview for the 21st. There's a significant, looks like drop due to some news overnight or over the weekend, and in the midst of a sharp decline, there's an opportunity to open up some calls. Looks like there was at the end. See that there's that same thing. So. Looks like in the midst of that decline, there's an opportunity to probably revisit that same price level opportunity to open up calls, or another good one here early on. Behavior around the high, we meet an important price level as signified by the Prince of Swords, and then we fall with increasing volatility from that moment. Behavior around the low, there's sideways fluctuations with a downward trend that bring us to meet the low, but it precedes an increase. The Empress card is a decline that precedes a move higher, right? And you can see we have a correlation to the day's low and the low signifier here between roughly 1 1 and 2, and then after that there's a big push to the upside in the star card, so that would be good confirmation that there's a day's low there. And another day's low looks like here. So okay, so we fall from a notable peak in the pre-market. Yeah, it looks like we fall hard from that high that we had early on in the day. I'd be buying on the 18th. I'd be buying puts, and it looks like we fall hard from that. We don't revisit that. That continues to decline there until the open. There's a fast sudden move higher at the open on the 21st, and then in the first half hour roughly, there's sideways rotation along a support level. A day's low is visited here or formed here in the first, or I should say between 10 and 11, and then a lower low between 11 and 12. There's a trade opportunity right around the 12 o'clock mark after a big move to the downside to meet that low. And then in the midst of that volatility between 11 and 12, there's also a fast sudden move higher, which will indicate the end of that volatility. Between 12 and 1, looks like we have a U-shaped dip. Looks like we have a U-shaped dip, and it happens kind of like sitting in the intersection of perpendicular diagonal trend lines. Oh, and somebody asked about U-shaped dips, guys. A U-shaped dip, it's like the letter U shape, capital U, I should say. All right, so between 1 and 2, we have a correlation to that to the day's theme, which is that opportunity to open up some calls, and you can see there we have a low correlator as well. So that looks like a good trade opportunity. It also corresponds with some of the cards on the overview. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that's a notable moment. That price level there at a low between roughly 1 and 2 o'clock. That's important. It's also that card appears within close proximity to that time frame on the 1 month overview. Okay, so big push higher, prominent move to the upside, big lucky move to the upside to reach a day's high or a day's prominent crest here between roughly 2 and 3, and then from that high there's strife. We break down, we decline with spikes that form at resistance, and that resistance is generally moving averages, and so there'll be a spike and then a lower spike and a lower spike, that type of behavior into the close. And then right around the close we have sideways fluctuation with a bullish trend and a sideways S maneuver in the post market. So a capital S turned on its side, right? Sneak preview for the following day is out of a lower low. Out of a lower low, there's a successful move higher to break through resistance and create new support, and that'll be on the 22nd. So that's your prediction for S&P 500 for March 21st, 2022. Let me know how you guys do. I'd love to hear you guys are getting something out of this information. It took me 22 years to develop it, guys. I really love to hear that people told me I was crazy. Look at me now. And I'm glad to see that there's people who are smart enough to see it too. God bless, guys. I'll see you later.